paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, that's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the podcast that, unlike our preview card, will never be banned, no matter what they say. Brainstorm
Don't make that
Brewery.
call. Somebody just clipped that. I can
Well,
picture
you know
like
what? This will age well.
2022,
What
everyone's
could
like,
go
hey,
wrong?
remember they said they'd never be banned?
Like, you know, they do the skateboarding videos where, like, they show the person wipe out and then they show it in, like, 0.75 speed, then 0.5 speed,
Yeah,
then
I love it.
0.25.
I
Yeah.
love it. No one will ever do that to me.
Never get banned. Crash, explosion sound.
Oh, man. Well,
and then the screen cap, like, no,
Never.
I can picture this now. The screen cap leads to, like they show, like, they edit in the screenshot of, like, Rose of Thorns account has been suspended, Chaucer account has been suspended, like, all of our Twitter accounts gone.
Look, I understand. I'm not a believer in superstition, so I will not only tempt fate, I will make an offer to fate.
We are going to be canceled for how many Walking Dead secret layers we've got.
I bought 0. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have a lot to talk about today. There were bannings. Rip Omnath. Saw that one coming. Rip Lucky
Did we?
Clover.
Because the card is
It got
3 weeks
big.
old.
Well, I mean, honestly, I expected it to get banned longer than I expected Lucky Clover to get banned. But you know what else they banned that I expected not at all? 0 sus on this card. Escape from the Wilds. Escape to the Wild. Sorry.
You don't even know.
Escape to the Wilds. Escape
for
to the
those-
Wilds. The Buffalo Wild Wings video we did for this podcast previewing that card is one of the most enjoyable pieces of magic content I've ever made. So that was a lot of fun. JJ and I shot that, and you should certainly go to youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery and look that video up.
So if you're
we're gonna get
a little bit
to that.
salty about the bans, why don't we start this episode out with a palate cleanser? We're going to read things that people said on Reddit when this card was spoiled.
That's right. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Look, we know there were leaks as well, and we do have to talk about them because they have financial relevance. So we'll get to that in a little bit, as well as the fallout from the bans. But yeah, Jason's right. This was hilarious to go back and look at these Reddit comments. So we're not going to throw anyone on their bus here. Look, we have our own share of horror stories from where we said very dumb things. But you know what? Today we get to laugh at the silly things other people said. Okay, so here we go. Escape to the Wilds, for those who don't know. It's 3, a red and a green. You may exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may play cards exiled this way until the end of your next turn, and you can play an extra land this turn. As it turns out, it was banned because it was busted in Teamer Adventures and Ramp and pretty much everything. It's just a ridiculous card, as it turns out, in this meta at least. So, what people said here, top comment, Teamer Reclamation? I can't see this being played anywhere else.
Yeah, no. So the way we'll do this is we'll say the comment and then the number of upvotes, but we won't say their username.
Oh, okay.
So the number 1 comment was Suburban Evolution with 485 upvotes.
Which was actually just funny.
That's just a good.
Yeah, that's solid. The next comment was this one. I said, yes. Team can't see this being played anywhere but Teamer Reclamation. People in this next comment is gold too. Keep in mind, these are from a year ago when Throne of Eldraine. It feels like literally was a different world. Yeah, I'm going to slot this in and give it a shot in Teamer Reclamation, but Reclamation won't be tier 1, but it could still be a lot of fun.
All right, I've got one.
If it gets good enough, people will have to run the enchantment that says no more than 1 non-creature per turn. Well, Reddit commenters, what you actually missed is that they banned everything until Reclamation was good. Then they banned Reclamation. Then they had to keep banning more cards, and 4 or 5 bannings later, maybe we have a standard format now.
This seems like an amazing commander card, but it's too clunky and slow for standard. 13 upvotes.
Beautiful art, but I'm not sure this is playable at 5. You do ramp, however, and if there's a red-green mid-range monster on the horizon we aren't seeing yet, this could be a huge deal. Finally, below, where someone's like, source, Brainstorm Brewery, the comment everyone gave the least of shit about. Somebody nailed it with 27 upvotes.
They did. Absolutely. Good for them. Here's one I liked. This is a good one. Keep in mind, this made a year ago. My Omnath deck will love this. You don't know how
what a
right
prophet.
You don't know how right you were, random Redditor. You deserve Reddit gold, or at least an upvote. Good on you.
I'm gonna wait. I'm actually gonna message that person and ask them what I should bet on the election for.
Their answer will depress you.
Oh man, that was a great one. So, in memorandum of Escape to the Wilds.
Memorandum.
Also, in memorandum of the fact that I posted this first and got 1/3 the upvotes of the other person that posted this after me, even though it was my preview card.
That's just how the internet works.
In memoriam of people knowing what the word memorandum means.
Did I get it right or wrong? Because I actually don't know.
Well, I'll let the YouTube comments tell you.
All right, YouTube comments, let me know. So, as far as financial fallout, probably not going to be a ton from these cards getting banned. No one's playing paper standard anyways. No one even knows what standard is anymore. It's a whole thing. So, I guess
I will say
just
that,
roll with the tide. Roll with the
I will say that
right?
Wizards got really lucky with the pandemic. In that,
in this sense,
players are hurt less by bannings when they get their wild cards refunded for it. So your Omnath deck is no longer playable, whatever, but you get to throw those 4 little red rectangles towards whatever other thing you can build next. It's
right.
You actually, I mean, you've already thrown away the money and you can't get it back. So getting some form of recompense, it's like getting a refund at Walmart and they're like, we can give you store credit, and you're like, okay.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you're lucky. You're right. They got lucky in that sense, in the sense that also, this format was bad. The last couple formats have been bad, even after bannings. They've been able to be much more aggressive with it because it's not hurting people in paper with prices and money. So that helps. And imagine the disaster we'd be looking at right now. Think back to when we were playing paper 9 months ago or whatever, and what it kind of felt like then before some of those bans, and it would have been so much worse now. So we're lucky that it just gets changed. So I don't know. Financially, there's not much to be done about any of this. Their bannings, just we'll see what happens when we come out on the other side. It's clear that this is the new design norm. But it also, with all these bannings, seems like maybe they recognize these are mistakes. So it's going to take them some time to correct what's coming down the pipe. But hopefully they ban all of these broken cards and then stop printing them.
They wanted Oko and Uro and Omnath to all be legal.
And once upon a time.
And Once Upon a Time.
And Lotus, there literally aren't enough broken cards to all fit in a deck.
I agree. You probably...
What were they playing in Future League? I could only find room for one Lotus Cobra in this deck.
And Gilded Goose and Lotus Cobra.
Gilded Goose,
yes.
And then I don't know. Somebody was like, what does no ban list standard look like? And the thing is, you're right.
Deck?
You can't even put all of those cards in the same deck.
That's what diversity. That's what diversity means.
The game. I was actually thinking about it with your Omnath. The games would become about doing one big Omnath turn before your Omnath gets turned into an elf.
I would be playing 8 Omnaths. Is what I would be doing.
But also, people would feel that that would have actually rotated by now, I guess. I don't know. Also, people would have been casting Omnath for free with Fires of Invention. Literally on turn 4, you play Fires of Invention, and then you play your Omnath for free. Are you kidding me?
And then you crack a fetch land, and then
what? What? We made this card cost 4 colors of mana. Oh, by the way, you can play it for free. What a format! It's a
format nobody ever got to play.
Just what an apps. I try not to criticize Wizards like too hard, but man, what a joke.
EDH is good now, and you know what? Omnath, not only not bannable in EDH, pretty medium. I am enjoying playing it because I like the access to white. Kind of a medium card. You need to do a lot of work because it's an Omnath. It's a landfall commander that just sucks ass with Scape Shift. So,
well, Jason, what is sort of now we're a couple more weeks in. How is kind of the EDH community reacting to Zendikar? What are we seeing?
It's the Omnath show. Like still, Omnath is lapping everything else. Omnath is played 3 times as much as the number 2 deck, which is a Shaya, which jumped up from 5. I think people thought Orath Skyclave Hierophant would be played more than it is, and it's played a little bit. I'm surprised that Tazri is played more than it is. But what are you gonna do? But it's basically everything I've said for the last 4 weeks is held. Like it's just Omnath got off to a commanding lead and can't be caught because Omnath lets you play just whatever you want in the deck.
Yeah. I mean that makes sense. I mean, is there anything else though from the maybe now with the commanders, with your experience having played with some of this now, has anything stood out to you that you maybe didn't weren't looking at a month ago?
I said the DFCs were good. I underrated them.
Okay.
They're actually better than good. I kind of think Balaged Recovery is a card you should absolutely be, because here's the deal.
I think I called that a new staple, right? That card's insane.
Well, people are playing Recollect, and if you're playing Recollect, this is better. Arguably, it's better than Regrowth. It costs 1 mana more, but it has upside because you can play it as a land if you need to. You can pick it up if it gets in the graveyard. You can play recover it as a spell. You can pick it up with something like Moloku.
Any bounce land.
Yeah, any bounce land too. So I think these cards are quite good. Balaged Recovery, it's underplayed relative to the dual face lands. All the dual face lands are in the top 25 on EDH Rec right now. The number 3 most played card in the set is Clearwater Pathway. Bright Climb is number 6. Clearwater's blue-black. Bright Climb, white-black is number 6. River Glide is number 10. That red-blue is number 10. Green-white is number 11. Red-white's number 18. Red-green's number 19. These cards are monsters. I've talked about Valakut Awakening on this cast. I still really like that. But Scoot Swarm has climbed up to number 5.
Scoot Swarm is a cool card.
I think Scoot Swarm could pass Ancient Green Warden at number 4. Green Warden's great, but Scoot Swarm is it's too cheap. 3 mana 1/1 that just really causes problems. Really a fantastic card. There's some power in this set. The top 20 in this set, all monsters. The only card that seems like an outlier is Soaring Thought Thief. And I think because we have both Zerasan and Anawan to build around, I think Soaring Thought Thief is played a lot because you have 2 cracks at building basically the same deck. So
plus it's just getting a lot of hype as a mill card, even of all kinds of stuff, it's very good in standard too, so it's just people are looking at it. It's in front of them.
I mean, I suppose. I think the DFCs have been underrated, and I think once you take a look at them, you're like, wow, how did I ever think Glasspool Mimic wasn't just an absolute monster in Commander?
I still don't like that card.
Well, it's because you can't copy their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just it's a card. I don't know. I haven't got to play with
Mirror, probably.
Yeah, I haven't got to play with any of the Zendikar Rising cards yet. Hopefully, next week maybe I'll be able to when we stream on Monday next week. As a matter of fact, when we stream Commander here at the Brainstorm Brewery YouTube channel. All right.
DJ also doesn't like Felidar Retreat. And that's the number 17 card.
Well, yeah, I'm curious about that. Have you have you been playing any limited or anything, DJ? Have you just dealt with the card Felidar Retreat at all?
I mean, limited. Obviously, it's different in limited. The card's absurd.
I know. The card is just absurd, period. I've gotten trounced by it in standard and historic even. It's good. But it's also
it's not,
just
it's
a
not
product
great
of
in EDH, I don't think.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just a product
It's
of a crazy
okay.
ramp format. Yeah.
I'm
like-
more scared of Cathar's Crusade by a
But
lot.
like, it's a second
I think
Cathar's
so, too.
Crusade is the deal. It's a second one.
Well, the thing is,
Right.
Cathar's Crusade combos. And this is just always going to be good in Commander. I haven't played against it in Commander yet, though. I'm interested to see what kind of work it would do, in someone's, Bant green deck, basically.
I'm sure
Or
it'll be
any
fine.
Sultai, John, Winger, or not Sultai or John, but whatever the other white combination there is.
Let me first play my
Abzan?
Parallel Lives, and then
That's
my
the one.
Anointed Procession, and then my other 4-mana do nothing enchantment. Now my land will make 3 creatures.
Yes, that
Hey.
seems very good to me. When your land
It
makes
does seem
3
kinda
creatures.
Yeah, it
You're
does seem kind of
threatening
good.
me with a good time, and I don't know why you're doing that.
12 to 18 mana later,
Look at
we're
me, I'm a
starting to get
dirtle.
there.
Every time I
Yeah.
play a land, I get 3/4/4 angels. I suck at magic. I'm Timmy. Okay, you did it.
Well, let's move on to Sudden Substitution, our budget replacement segment where we look at an expensive commander card and give you some less expensive options that maybe you can afford. So this week, we're looking at Ophiomancer. Pretty powerful card. DJ, do you want to break down why Ophiomancer is so popular?
Yeah, this is actually a longtime favorite of mine. I used to play it in Savra back in the day. For those of you who know what Savra, Queen of the Golgari is, this is a 3-mana 2/2. It's a human shaman, and it makes a 1/1 black death touch snake at every upkeep if you do not have a snake. So, player B's turn, you make a snake, sack it, grave pact everybody. Player C's turn, you make a snake, etc. It is one of the best mono black token engines in the game, up there with Bitter Blossom, but it's like almost $20 now. So what do we got?
I'm coming in with an old card here, but it is a great one. Tombstone Stairwell. Stick with me here. It's got some words, but it's 4 mana, has a cumulative upkeep of 1 and a black, so you have to pay that every time, and it accumulates. So you can't keep it forever. But when Tombstone Stairwell is in play, during each player's upkeep, they put a zombie token into play for each creature card in their graveyard. Those tokens have haste, and they get destroyed at the end of the turn. So what that means is, on your turn, you are going to get a bunch of zombies, if you've built your deck around this, which of course you have, to do whatever you want with. And if that, and because the tokens are destroyed, if you have a way to give your tokens indestructible, you can actually keep all your zombies around. So coming in at about $10, it's half the price of an Ophiomancer. It is an old one you may not be aware of, but Tombstone Stairwell could definitely make some tokens.
This is my favorite segment because we just call cards that are getting reprinted in Commander Legends. Here's a card I think is very safe from reprinting Commander Legends, Marsh Flitter. Marsh Flitter is a 4-drop, and when it comes into play, create 2 1/1 black goblin rogue creature tokens. Just like Ophiomancer, it gives you a couple of bodies for the 1 initial investment. But unlike Ophiomancer, you can actually do something with those goblins. You can sacrifice a goblin, make Marsh Flitter's base power and toughness 3/3. Which is great because, you have ways to bolster your fairies. You have ways to trigger Prowl when you smack them with this, so you can get in there for 1 and they don't block, and all of a sudden you're smacking them for 3. Then you're ninjutsuing maybe. Who knows? You got all
Now you're
kinds of
talking.
options.
It
Yeah.
triggers Sig, and then you draw a card, and then they take extra damage.
Yeah, it triggers Sig because it gives them the 3 damage that's the requisite for drawing a card of Sig. And then next turn you swing, you play that Fallen Shinobi, gate that Marsh Flitter back to your hand, replay it for all the value.
That is all the value, as a matter of
Cooking
fact.
with gas. And yeah, Marsh Flitter's not quite as good as Ophiomancer because, you just make the 2 tokens and then you're done. You're not farting one out every turn. The great thing about Marsh is the fact that it costs less than $1.
That's right. DJ?
I have another. I mean, basically every card we mentioned here, I played in Savra. Savra played a lot of black tokens because you grave packed them with it. But one of the OGs is Sengir Autocrat. This card was printed all the way back in the day. It is a 4-mana 2/2 that makes 3/0/1 serfs when it enters the battlefield. Those serfs are black, which means that they count for Teysa, they count for Savra, and they count for doubling your mana with Ashnod's Altar. You can play this for 4. Now you have 8 colorless mana. Now you're playing Torment of Hailfire for a lot more. This is just a very cheap, effective way to make bodies. When Sengir Autocrat leaves the battlefield, you lose all your serfs. You have to stack the serfs first. But then you can double them with Anointed Procession. You can do all the crazy token stuff. But it's mono black, so if you're a non-green token deck, you're looking for ways to make tokens. We've just mentioned a few of the better ones. On a budget. You can buy all these combined for less than Ophiomancer.
Your Autocrats was tech back in the day. I had a Hecatomb deck that I built, like, Duelist Magazine was like, you should use Send Your Autocrat, because it makes 4 creatures you can sack to Hecatomb, and then you just tap swamps to murder people. I was like, that seems pretty good. That was just like ruling the lunch table with my Send Your Autocrat Hecatomb Corrupt deck. It was brutal. You just tap swamps to hit people, and they're like, I can't interact with that. And you're like, yeah.
Some old. That is
and they're like, Jason, you're a genius. How did you think of this deck? And you're angrily shoving a magazine in your backpack. You're like, yes, it was my idea. The entire time, I was the genius behind it.
Well, you might have got thrown out of the store for being a net decker otherwise.
If they weren't smart enough to read Duelist Magazine back in the day, where Bethmo taught you how to goldfish, and Terry So taught me how to write on the back of cards to use them as proxies, like, I learned a lot from Duelist. Come to find out it was stuff everyone else already knew, but, like, I learned it from Duelist, so I wanted to write for Duelist when I grew up, and they're like, we don't have magazines. We have computers that are hooked together. And I was like, oh, that seems better than printing a magazine and then releasing it somewhere where someone has to physically go to get it.
I love the old
10,000 back in 1994.
Yeah, I love the old school feel, picking up a newspaper or even a magazine. Just something different. It means, I honestly, though, a lot of it is probably as a writer, there's a lot more. It's like you can hold it. This is my thing. When it exists on the internet, it's just a URL that could break at any time.
I think writing for Cool Stuff Inc. is like the closest I would ever get to writing for Duelist, and like,
I mean, you're writing for basically you're writing for a trade publication. You know, you're doing it. Yeah,
we should publish an EDH Rec magazine and like physically try to sell it to people and be like, "What? You printed out part of the internet? This is the same reason I don't want a phone book. Get out of here, boomer!" And then.
All right.
I feel bad for everyone that tried to sell magazine subscriptions door to door. I wonder what they're doing now, besides meth.
Still trying to sell magazine subscriptions, I think. I occasionally get people at the door. Well, not during the pandemic, but before that, people trying to sell magazine subscriptions. I think one time
I buy a subscription to Sports Illustrated. Well, normally I'd say no, but I am a dentist, so.
Well, the thing is, I think at one point I gifted one to the people because I felt like I looked into it and like the people trying to sell you the magazines got something and it was whatever. It was a thing that I felt good about giving money to gift us a magazine subscription to somebody. But then they called me a couple years later and I had very little memory of it. And they just, hit me up about if I wanted to continue my subscription to like Women's Health or just something bizarre, random. It was the weirdest phone call. That's a bad story. You can cut that story.
I heard you make more money selling magazines than you ever made at Intertrode.
What?
That wasn't for you. That was for our listeners.
Okay.
You guys have never seen Office Space, and that's embarrassing.
I have definitely seen Office Space. However,
so you don't remember Orlando Jones coming to the door selling magazine subscriptions, and they said they had to kill him for hearing their plan to embezzle money?
I just didn't put it. That wasn't the part that. It was the Intertrode reference there that ties it all together that I did not get right away, Jason. I'm sorry. I actually do feel like I kind of messed up.
Well, if you've only seen the movie a reasonable number of times, you probably aren't going to get that reference.
I mean, it has been a minute.
There are some of our fans who go to youtube.com/Brainstorm Brewery and are watching this and like, you know what? I've seen Office Space an unreasonable number of times. I got that reference. You know what? I think I'm going to click thumbs up on this video. I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to finger blast that bell icon to get a notification when Brainstorm Brewery makes new content. It's not always a podcast. Sometimes it's a deck tech. Sometimes it's us doing the Hangover Hangouts, playing some EDH or some Among Us. But it's always good quality content that you've come to expect from your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. So thanks for tuning in and thanks for seeing Office Space. So I don't feel like some old sad idiots like, hey, remember that movie from 1998? Remember that? Come on, the guy from Beavis and Butthead. Remember Beavis and Butthead from 1996? Remember that? And then DJ's like, I wasn't alive in 1996. And then I feel bad. So thank you for getting an Office Space reference. You're the real hero.
And with that, it's time for Breaking Bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
I was gonna say, you know what the real hero was? Saviors
Firefighters
of
on
Kamigawa.
9/11?
Nah, Saviors of Kamigawa was the real hero that saved Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of Saviors of Kamigawa, we have a blue uncommon from that set. It's
Blue uncommon
blue-
from Save. Is it a ninja?
blue uncommon from Saviors of Kamigawa. Ninjas were in Betrayers.
Oh, Saviors is the lantern?
Yes. Oh, Saviors is, according to like 2009 to 2017, it was like a house. That's what I called it. In those, it was a house. Saviors of Kamigawa, blue uncommon.
Is it the
Authentic
creature that
magic
makes
card.
your hand size bigger?
Oh, that is a good guess, but that is from that's from Champions, I think.
No,
And this is not a
cards.
creature.
Remember their cards in Saviors?
That's
that
what
make
I
your
was
hand size?
thinking, but I don't remember the name of the card.
Or the
Graceful
cards in-
Adept is from
No, like
I don't know.
Graceful Adept is from
trained
Champions.
advisor. Trained advisor makes your hand size bigger. Or does it make your hand size smaller?
I don't. It's either way. This is not a creature, so we're getting caught up on.
Is
I
it
don't
the
know.
counter
It's
spell?
none of those things. No.
Is it the 6-mana counterspell?
Nope.
The Saviors, Dampen Thought.
No, that was
That's
chance.
Champions.
Is it the splice onto arcane draw card?
It does have splice onto arcane, but it does not say draw.
But it's not the zero the card with no casting cost.
No. It's not the. I know what you're thinking of. It's not that.
Evermind.
I don't know. It's probably a card. I don't know. What is it? Flip that card around, DJ. Let's see
It
it.
is Shifting Borders.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Oh,
one.
4-mana
you
instant,
you can
exchange
take 2 of their
control
lands.
to
and then
target
give-
lands.
Yeah. Card's nuts.
So this says give me your Gaia's Cradle, or give me your Cabal Coffers,
That's
or
a cool card.
or give me your whatever. Like it's
An instant. Wow.
Yeah, it's better than
4-mana
land
instant.
removal
I mean,
sometimes.
obviously, this mostly goes in like Zedru or like other political decks that care about like swapping permanents across the board.
I mean,
but-
I can see this just being a really fun card to play. That's sometimes
right,
with your
exactly,
opponent's
and I think
Cabal
that's why
Coffers.
TCG Market is like 70 to 75 cents,
You know
and that's
what?
why I
I
list these
actually-
for like 80 cents on Direct.
Also,
I like-
just to be
I
clear,
like this
I'm
in,
fairly certain that you get to cast this spell. You get to target the 2 lands, and then if yours was like a strip mine, you can strip mine something, and then it will still resolve with as many. But you probably can't exchange, huh? Yeah, that's probably.
We figured it out. Corbin
I
worked
like
it through. Like,
Well, exchange is one of those words that like is not actually defined as a magic term, but actually does have magic rule significance. So
yeah.
I like this in NES.
Interesting.
I think I can straight play this in NES just to get rid of the people using the Homeward Path and shit like that. Because I run a lot of lands that destroy lands in NES just because Homeward Path just like, "Ugh, I made the game not fun for anybody." So like, I kind of like getting rid of Homeward Path with that. You take Homeward Path and you're just like, well, this taps for mana now, idiot. Like, I kind of like that. So This does some of the kind of things I like to do in my Ania's deck. So I play it sometimes on our Monday stream. So like if you're into more than just the podcast, check that out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got another Throne of Eldraine card here since that's the talk tonight. It's a white uncommon.
I'm honestly just F6ing through all the new bullshit.
It's
like
too recent for me.
I have an
picking the
encyclopedic
set?
memory of most bulk sets from like most years, and then it's like anything from 2019 forward I have not physically touched. So meh.
The answer is
Like,
all the glitters.
Wait a minute.
You know how Corbin's like, oh,
what's a
this
rarity?
card was printed between.
It's an uncommon.
You know
Is
how
it
Corbin's like, oh, this card was printed between 1993 and 2014. I'm not gonna know it. Like that's how I am from like
Or like
2019
2005, but yeah.
Is it a creature or non-creature?
It's a
All the
non-creature.
glitters is not
It's
a
the,
creature.
it's
It's
the
an
arcane-
enchantment. It's an aura.
It's the Arcane Lab thing.
No.
No.
It's all the glitters.
It's an aura that you put on
Oh.
your creature and makes it.
A card that was printed in a precon. Okay. Maybe.
It's worth 50 cents. It's played in a lot of stuff, man.
Let's look at the
Like, it's a good
all
card.
that glitters EDH rec page. It may blow me away with its. Okay. Wow. In the last 2 years.
Yeah.
All that glitters is in 5,600 decks of the last 2 years, and it really is a year old. So in the last 1 year, it's in 5,600 decks, which is 3%.
It's a 20-cent buy left card, man. It's a real thing. Like,
Okay.
it's a 20-cent buy. It's a quarter. Like,
Okay,
it's
man.
great.
This is
It's
a
played everywhere.
Yeah, Elela, like even like people are going back and adding this to their Bruna and Earl decks. Like SRAM plays this. Okay, yeah, that's legit, man. I really thought you were gonna say the Arcane Lab card for a mana or whatever. But
I don't
yeah,
need.
this
No,
is-
I don't think that's worth much. Yeah.
I
All right, Jason.
I haven't picked any of this set, but I would probably pick that despite it being printed in a precon. All right.
Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah,
cards
yeah,
that when
yeah,
you
for
read it,
sure.
you're like, yes.
Speaking of cards that recently got reprinted, this was originally in Time Spiral, but it got a mystery booster treatment as a green uncommon from Time Spiral. A creature.
Oh, frick. Is it
Frick
the
indeed.
Spell Shaper?
No. Time
It's a
Spiral,
green.
not planar chaos or future sight. Are you
It's a
thinking
green
Spell Sabers in Time
uncommon
Spiral?
creature.
It's a green uncommon creature from Time Spiral
It might just
and
be obvious.
Mystery
but-
Booster. It's very obvious.
Oh yeah, like this. The second you say this, I'm gonna know it. But
Yeah, so I'm trying to think through like what was in. I don't know.
Rib Ranger.
Oh, that checks out. Yeah, it's a good card. At times,
Fair.
it was legacy playable.
But like you still get these in bulk and pick them out. These are like $1 retail despite. See, COVID really threw mystery booster stuff for a loop because some of it really got its pants pulled down and some of it really wasn't dinged at all, and it's seemingly random almost like what was affected and what wasn't. So Scrib Ranger managed to keep its price above $1 despite the mystery booster treatment. So who knows why that happened. All I know is Scrib Ranger untaps good green creatures that have tap abilities like Yes and the
it's a good
Wonder
card.
Guard, Selvala, Prime Speaker Vanifar, other Selvala. This does some work. Both sells
Absolutely.
Vala. Love to untap. So Scrib Ranger, I mean, people were using this back in the day with that dumb 8/8 that didn't untap. People were using Scrib Ranger and untap that.
Lol.
Yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
Force of Nature, Primeval,
No,
whatever it was. Force
Force-
of Nature, maybe.
it wasn't Force of Nature. It was
Primeval
whatever
Force.
the Time Spiral Force of Nature was. Yeah. So Scrib Ranger does some work. Like, it turns out creatures with tap abilities can be quite good. And sometimes they do Prime Speaker Vanifar stuff, and rebuying a tap on that, pretty powerful. So
Yeah,
despite
sure.
the mystery booster, like, you know what? Time Spiral's not a forbidden set yet for this game. So I'm going to go back to that well. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we're gonna get into the spoilers from Commander. So prepare yourself to turn off the podcast or skip ahead if that's not what you want to hear. But before you do that, listen to this. If you've been playing Magic for a long time and you've seen some incredible art in that time, and I know you have because we all have some of our favorites, mine, of course, being Silver Girl Adept. But if you'd ever like to see any of that art on a playmat, on a print, on a token, anything you want, go to Original Magic Art Store and check out our friends over there. That's originalmagicart.store, and you can get all of your favorite art on a playmat. That includes new art, that includes old art. You can get it on a playmat, on a print, a lot of options over there. We were actually, I know I was personally amazed at just how much the store had grown over the last few years in terms of what they offer. So it's really cool. So as a reminder to go check that out if you're into some really cool Magic art in your house.
And you're into not having to deal with the artist directly. Like I know a guy in Michigan who paid Jeff Miracola like a lot of money to do a custom playmat, and like we're like, yeah, you probably did that. Good for you. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like if you could have had that deal brokered for you by somebody who does that sort of thing, you know, it's just,
it's so much easier
than,
for everybody.
Yeah. It's just easier than ad hocking it or just like, getting the art and going to a playmat site yourself. I think if you want beautiful original Magic art on a playmat, the easiest way to do it is to just go through OMA. So that's what we do.
That's right. All right. So let's talk about the spoilers. Commander Legends leaks. They obviously do not have the leaks under control, although in the pandemic, it's probably a little more understandable, at least. But we do have to
narrow it down. As like they will never know it was us, as they post a bunch of German
post it on eBay or whatever.
This could have been anybody if it's these German packs.
Why
am I speaking with a German accent? German is my first language. Why don't I just speak German? Like, why would I speak this broken English that is cartoonish? Like, why would I even do this? It doesn't make any sense. It's almost like my entire life is contrived to do a comedy bit, but that would be weird. Why would I just exist as a cartoon person? That's very strange. I don't think that any universe with a loving God would do this to me, but who knows? Who am I to say I'm just a piece of human garbage that leaked Magic cards on the internet and ruined somebody's preview card potentially like a monster? So who am I to say what morality is? Like, you know, like I'm clearly a monster and I don't care about anybody but myself. So who cares if I'm a figment of some comedian's imagination? I guess what I'm saying is, it was wrong of me to do this, and I deserve the eternal torments that I will receive as a result of these actions.
Well, I appreciate you getting that hard-hitting interview, Jason.
Tevish Sot. Doom of Fools.
All right, so here's the deal with this set. If it were up to me, we wouldn't talk about them because we wouldn't have to, because there wouldn't be leaks, but there are leaks and they are financially relevant, so we are going to bring them to you. The big news is that there are now partner Planeswalker commanders. That's word soup. It's not even original. This is what I dislike the most about this. It's like, this was a mechanic we had and people were medium on. This is another mechanic we had. People were pretty medium on that. What if we put them together?
Put them together.
Then people will love it, right? No, I don't. But
I think people will love this.
They might.
They might.
I think this is another Godzilla thing where the vocal minority of the community snubs their nose at it initially and then realizes that, like, it's going to sell a shit ton of packs.
It will.
Peanut brittle, people are kind of medium on it. Vegemite, people are medium on Vegemite. Put them together.
I don't
I
know
get
what
it,
that
and I'm not. I get it, and I'm not.
makes.
You know, it is what it is. I just don't. I have not loved the partner mechanic in my experience at all. It seems at least that they seem to be monocolored planeswalkers. So I actually do think that goes a really long way to making it a lot better.
Yeah.
I just hate these
depending on what you
4-color
can partner
partner
with.
decks.
Like if you could partner with existing Planeswalker commanders, that's sort of dumb. But like if it's like, all right, this card from this set and this other card from this set, and that's it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and
I like that you have access to more than one color, because the monocolored partner commanders are
I agree
the
with that. I agree with
monocolored
that.
commander Planeswalkers are just sort of whatever.
Yeah, it really is. It's just the 4-color good stuff partner decks that I dislike, because those are just always the culprits of the homogenization of Commander, where people are playing the same 25 cards in every deck or whatever, because they're all
But it's just like, oh, we have Timna and Thrasios just so I can be
Right.
the redless good
Yeah.
stuff.
It's just like whatever the same deck is, they always like. It's just that
Sure,
deck.
but that's
is just
again, that's
partner
not a fault
commanders.
of partner. That's a fault of the design of the card.
But I think
Yeah.
if you give people
Well,
the
yeah,
ability
it's like
to play
this
4
card
colors
draws an obscene
in
amount
2
of cards.
things, like it's
and
just
this one draws.
you've
an obscene
removed the
amount of
entire.
cards.
At some point, you've removed the entire deck building element.
Yeah.
Not the entire, but at some point, you really do remove a lot of the deck building element when you just tell people, no matter what you do with your deck, you get to play 4 colors. And they're multiple good cards. I don't know. I just
There's ways to make those cards more narrow and fit within the themes of the individual cards'
Yes.
identities.
I think there's a lot of way to do it better, and I think this might be a fine attempt at it.
Now, one thing I will say, as a result of seeing that, like some of the commanders from the past are getting reprinted, like we're seeing Prosh in this set, we're seeing Nekasar in this set, we're seeing Zedru in this set. Maelstrom Wanderer is back. Timna the Weaver is back. Corbin said that he thought Thrasios would be in this set, and I said, no actual way, actual Jose. And now I'm starting to think maybe I should sell all my Thrasioses, which would mean I lost our spicy peanut bet. Now,
We'll
there's
see.
a thing we like to do on this podcast. For a while, we're like, yeah, let's do a Fogo bet, and then we never hung out for 2 years. So we started doing spicy food bets. We did the 1-chip challenge. That was very spicy. And then Corbin had to do it again. And we did a flaming hot gummy bear that was like 25 million Scoville or something dumb like that. And like, I don't know, it was easier to do than the chip somehow. We got these super duper hot peanuts. So Corbin has some peanuts. I have some peanuts. Whoever's wrong about Thrasios being in this set, we'll do that on camera. And that's a thing that if you blast the bell icon, you will see the video of like immediately.
That's right. We'll probably do it live on a stream, actually.
We
and
put
then record
our spicy hot peanut money where our spicy hot peanut mouth is on this podcast. We don't just make proclamations, we back them up. We just want to know that I'm feeling pretty nervous about all my Thasios related shit talk earlier.
Yeah, there are certainly some reprints coming in this set. That's for sure.
I mean, like, look, Timna, Maelstrom Wanderer, Zedru, Rosh, Nekusar, all confirmed. So
yeah, and even past that, right? There's things like Boros Charm. That card's worth some number of dollars. There's Return to Dust, right? There's these are some a lot of this, that we've seen.
And stuff we've done
Bag,
on Sudden Substitution as well. Like very recently, we did Staff of Domination, and that is confirmed in this set.
That's right. Yeah, that's our thing, I guess. Well, let's talk about a couple of the
our
new
Sudden
ones.
Substitution will just predict future reprints. That's like all we do.
DJ, what stands out to you from some of the new cards we've seen?
In terms of like cards I think are neat or cards that I think will make people money?
Either one. I mean, like, what do you want to talk about from what we've seen so far?
I like I personally really like the design space for Partner Commander, Planeswalker, Tank, DPS, Support, Assassin, whatever you want. Like, I don't know. But like, I really like the design for Tevesh Sot, Doom of Fools, and Jessica Thrice Reborn. They're the black Planeswalker commander that is based around creating tokens and sacking stuff, and then it steals a bunch of things, and then Jessica is like the damage one. I like the idea of being able to build those. Neither of those seem as oppressive as Thrasios or Timna, or just like good stuffy dot whatever. Like you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm playing Tevesh Sot and Jessica, and everyone's like, oh really? Like you're so generic and basic. Like they seem not competitively
yeah
twisted.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's no Tulane.
Yeah, exactly. I really like those. I really like picking up a lot of these cards at the end of the year and then just putting them in a box and waiting.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, honestly.
Here's something I was going to talk about, and then I forgot when you asked me if I had anything to talk about, and then I
Sure.
remember that I had something to talk about. So this set also comes with Planeswalker Commander decks. Like, there's precons in this set. Like, there are Commander precons that come with Commander Legends, just like there were Commander precons that came with Zendikar Rising.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of the money for Zendikar Rising that you can make is in those precons, and I think the same is true with Commander Legends. I think that you put money towards the precons and not the actual set itself, and I think there will be reprints and singles that you want to target in the Commander precons instead of the reprints from the set itself.
Right.
Like, I mean, my pick of the week is going to be based from the Zendikar Rising precons, and you'll be like, oh wow, that's a really good pick. I didn't know that was that cheap. And I think that you should wait and see these precons from this set too.
I'll tell you that I like this ability on, I guess it's Lisa. I don't know, it's Liesa, but of Flight Penumbra. It's 2 white, black. It's an angel. It's a 5/5 flying lifelinker. But here's the cool part. The first ability lets you pay the commander tax with 2 life instead of 2 mana. And it also has the text that whenever a player casts a spell, you gain 2 life. This thing is pretty cool. I think the first card we've seen that cheats the commander tax in this way. You know, we've seen Yuriko and Derevi, but I think it's the first time we've seen sort of it's almost like it's like Phyrexian mana, right? But I think that's a neat one. Plus, I like the card a lot. I'm thinking about it in my Oloro deck. Well, Commander Legends comes out on November 6th, so it won't be too long. We'll have the full spoiler anyway. But one card we do know, there's a legendary Merfolk. Excited to see what comes of that. All right, well, it is time for Pick of the Week. Cue the music.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
And as a reminder, any of the cards we have talked about or are about to talk about with our picks of the week here, you can pick up at our sponsor, channelfireball.com. We've talked a lot about the benefits of being CFB Pro, where you can just get a box that you have, throw all your cards into it, send it to CFB. They'll send you money if you're a member of Pro. So check them out. Make sure to go check out all the new Zendikar Rising stuff, as well as all the cards we're about to talk about here with Pick of the Week. So I'll go first. I have one that I actually didn't even realize had spiked. It was one of those that I kind of put on my list when it got printed and kind of forgot about. I say spiked, but a year and a half ago, Throne of the High City moved to about $2, $2.50. And that was spiking off of $1. Throne of the High City is just a land from Conspiracy Take the Crown. You can pay 4 mana, sacrifice it, and you become the Monarch. You can do this at instant speed. The Monarch means that you draw a card on your end step. Someone else can only take it by attacking you to take the Monarchy away. So this has moved. It spiked up to $2 or $3. It's hung out there since. However, it has since climbed from $2.50. From $2 up to about $2.50, $3 now. So I'm liking Throne of the High City moving again here. It had time to kind of settle at the new price, and now people are looking at it again. So I think it's easily going to be a $5 card moving forward, and it probably won't stop there until it gets reprinted with a very specific mechanic.
And it's going to be really tough to reprint that card. One thing I will note is that it is very limited EDH appeal for whatever reason. It's not in that many EDH decks. Throne of the High City got a little bit of initial bump because people were playing it in Legacy, and that's not really a thing anymore. You remember when Battle Bond came out, it was Legacy was in its death throes, and everyone's like, oh, Brightling means that everyone can build like a mono white Death and Taxes deck in Legacy, and then Legacy just sort of took a dump. And even if
we had 2019 cards is what happened.
Yeah, plus, pandemic. So, even if we wanted to play Paper Legacy, we really couldn't. So, I think Throne of the High City has less EDH demand than I would like to see, but I also think this card's almost impossible to reprint.
Yeah, it's a card that I kind of agree. I noticed that I've never seen this at a commander table, honestly. But this is this is predicated on reading graphs and trying to interpret what the graph is telling me. So it may just be a thing where it's just a unique enough effect, and now it's old enough, being printed back in 2016, I think. Yeah, so it's been a while, but the graph says it's going to be a $5 card from 253 now. So if you are somebody who at least thinks you might want to play these in the future, or you just want to have them in case, we'll get thrown to the high city.
But like, why not? Because Keeper of the Keys went up to like $6. Like, I get it because it makes your rogues unblockable and you're trying to hit people with rogues in 2020. Like, I get that. I understand why that's happening. And I called Keeper of the Keys when it was like $1.50. Like, all the stuff that the Monarch stuff I really liked, right? Like, I called the big green dumb dinosaur thing when it was under $2. Like,
and the Monarch is and Monarch is great because it turned a bunch of Breaking Bolt and created a bunch of Breaking Bolt cards.
It's a great mechanic to introduce to your EDH table because, like, you just create a sub game.
It's fun
on the basis of playing these cards. So, like, if you are playing Keeper of the Keys and someone takes Monarch away from you, slap down Throne of the High City, pay 4 mana, you're the Monarch, your shit's unblockable. Like, you have a great turn all of a sudden. So, I really don't hate this. Just in like, your Regal Behemoth is switched on now without you having to attack. Like, you can play stuff pre-combat now. So, like. I think this what I'm saying is, like, the EDH rec data isn't there, but, like, I'm going to EDH rec podcast challenge the stats on this. I really like this a lot more than other people do. So I'm going to say this is actually a better pick than even Corbin.
Well,
but hey, what do I know? If I could make cards be worth money, Helm of Possession would be $50. I'm not
That's
Josh
true.
Lee.
Well, what is your pick of the week, Jason?
My pick of the week is a card that I don't think needs my help. Even if it were Josh Lee Kwai, this card would not need my help because it is so good. Activated abilities of artifacts cannot be activated. It is Collector Oof. Modern Horizons.
Oh, I thought you were going in a way different direction with that.
Oh, did you think I was going to pick like Null Rod or something?
No, Karn the Great Creator is like a very good pick.
I agree with that.
Card's dirt cheap, but it's just busted.
It's just going to end up banned everywhere.
Is it going to end up banned, or is it just like, this is cheap because everybody got 4 like foil sheets from Wizards and like we cut them up?
It is cheap. I agree with DJ though. I like that card. That card is very powerful. But go ahead, Jason. Sell us on Collector Oofy.
Well, Collector Oof is in like almost 7,000 decks on EDH Rec, and it's under $3. And that's incorrect. This is a very good card, and I think
it's got eternal play as well.
Sure, and people are like, Yasharn is a brand new hate bear type card. So when people like, oh hey, I like Yasharn, they're gonna go to EDH Rec and they're gonna see Collector Oof is way up there in the high synergy cards. So like, this was a good card in EDH. It was just fine, but like it's got the second most synergy with Yasharn. So like people building Dragonlord Dromoka or Yaddick Teague or whatever like had access to this card, but all of a sudden there's a new hate bear commander in town, and this is probably the best bear for hate bears. There's Dranith Magistrate too that's under $2. I don't hate that either. So
I like that card.
Yeah. So
Dranith Magistrate is unlike Collector Oof. It gets weird though, because like with do you want the full art version, full art foil version, regular version? As far as like pick of when it comes to specking on them, I just don't even know I don't even know where you're supposed to look. Like we don't have the data to know how things like that are going to play out. We're not going to have
the data for a couple of years just because this is like a new thing that was sprung on us during quarantine when all of our like normal
buying habits
calculations were thrown way off. But what I do know is that this is a card that is in a set where the boxes are getting expensive. It's a little harder to buy Collector Oof other than buying like a $4, $3 single copy of it, and people are noticing it. And anybody that's building a Yasharn deck is going to want this if they go to EDH Rec and notice that it's the number 2 high synergy card. So on that basis, I'm really excited about this stupid hate bear that just shuts down your dumb artifacts.
That's a great pick. DJ, finish it out.
From the Zendikar Rising Commander Rogue Precon, Ona Queen of the Fae is $1.
Whew. Dude,
Wow.
these precons just smashed so much stuff. Angry Omnath is like $2. Like Admonition Angel is like, just
yeah.
smashed
Ona
so
Queen
many
of the
cards.
Fae has like always historically hovered between 3 and 4 because it hits that really sweet spot of like casual mill plus casual fairies plus casual tokens.
But the tokens it makes are rogues, and that's relevant for the
Very relevant right now.
Anawan deck. And
Yeah,
I
for
guess
sure.
for Zerasan too.
Yeah. Well, and you're just playing rogues, right? You just look up rogue cards, and Una is a win condition all on its own.
Yeah, I mean it's an
synergy,
outlet for infinite mana. It does a lot of different things. It's very expensive and clunky, but it's also just always hovered between $3 and $4 really.
Yeah.
And if you the problem with this one is finding it in bulk. Like it can sometimes be hard to find cards in bulk from these less opened products. Like it's very easy to find a card from like Modern Horizons or like Throne of Eldraine or whatever, where it's like find 80 copies X buy or whatever. Like it's harder to do that when it's like, oh, this was only printed in like Plane Chase 2012, and you're like, how do I buy all these? But so it can sometimes be hard to find a particular outlet that has double digit copies of.
But it also has to be said that not everybody wants to do that, right? Some people just want to buy
yeah. I mean, like, if you're like, I'm building a rogues deck and I don't want to use precons, like, you should 100% just buy one for like $1.30 plus 99-cent shipping or whatever. Just
yeah. All right, well, there you go. That's the podcast this week, everybody. It has been a long night for us. We were streaming right before this, but as always, it was a lot of fun. So I'm Corbin. You can find me on Twitter at Chosfler. Jason, DJ, where can people find you across the internet?
Don't ask both of us at the same time.
Yeah, which one of us you want to answer?
It was in order. Jason, why don't you go ahead?
Well, why don't you just say Jason then?
Well, I was like Jason, DJ. I'm like setting it up that way, like DJ knows to take it from Jason. That way, I don't have to.
There's one person left after, like.
Hey, man. Hey, I just answered what I.
Hey, I'm Jason. I'm first. DJ secondary, clearly.
Cut all that, JJ.
No, leave it, coward. I'm Jason Ealt on the Bird website. If you go to my pin post at the top of my profile, I've got a list of all the projects I contribute to around the internet, including, but not limited to, my article that I write on MTG Price every week with EDH Finance Tips, my EDH 75% article that I write for Cool Stuff Inc., my podcast called Film Hooligans that I do on the They Said We Said YouTube channel, and so much more. I work on EDH Rec, but I don't tell anybody about that because like sometimes I get in fights with like Twitter eggs on Twitter, and I don't want them to be like, oh, this guy works for EDH Rec. What if I? So I'm not trying to get fired from EDH Rec. So I like that's a secret, but like also that is a thing I do. But like you guys are in the inner circle. Like I trust all of you not to be like, he done. You gotta fire this guy. He said he's talking about some weird stuff on his podcast. Like you're cool. So you get to know that I work there. But like everybody else, just like stalking me on Twitter, no idea.
Good to know. Good to know. DJ, what about you?
So I decided to take some small amount of initiative to organize some small amount of my links together. And there's a website called Linktree. Mine is linktr.ee/cardgarden. It'll bring you to a link tree, and it's basically a neat little compact thing that shows you a bunch of links where you can go to experience my content or my business or whatever. It's got a link where you can place an order with me. It's got a link where you can my Twitter, my TCG store, the BSB, Patreon, and Discord, and it's got a couple of my Commander deck lists too, so you can go on that and do that. If you go to place an order, it'll just take you to a Google form where you fill out the cards you want, your contact info, etc., all that stuff. And my Twitter is @RoseOfThorns if you just refuse to use Linktree for whatever weird reason.
Well, there you go. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week.
This was a podcast. We successfully closed the podcast. Was it good? Was it bad? Nobody really cared. Everyone watching's gonna watch no matter what. This was a podcast. We finished a podcast. It was a podcast. We completed a podcast. This was a podcast. We did it.